The oxygen alarm screamed inside the wrecked alien rescue ship. Commander Viral staggered through the narrow corridor, her clawed hand pressing against the leaking wall panel. Frost spread across the metal like slow death. Every breath she took felt thinner than the last. The ship had been torn apart hours ago, but the silence outside the hull felt even more dangerous than the damage inside. She reached the emergency command console. Red lights blinked weakly. System failing. Life support. 6 minutes remaining. Viral's glowing eyes stayed locked on the screen for a long moment. Her crew was gone. The last escape pod had launched half an hour ago. It never answered back. That meant it never made it. She was alone now. Still, she forced her trembling hands forward and activated the distress beacon. The console responded with a broken pulse. The signal was weak, distorted, and scattered across space like a dying heartbeat. "Any surviving vessels respond?" she whispered into the comm. Her voice cracked. Not from fear but from exhaustion. Outside, the ship drifted through a dead star system. No stars nearby. No colonies. No patrol routes. Every known map labeled this sector as empty for centuries. No one should hear her. And yet she had no other choice. She leaned back against the console, sliding down slowly as the cold crept into her limbs. Her mind flashed with fragments of her crew. Engineers laughing during calibration drills, the navigator arguing about jump coordinates, the young cadet who believed the galaxy was still safe. All gone now. A sudden sound broke the silence. A sharp tone. Viral froze. The comm system flickered once, then stabilized. A response signal appeared on the screen. At first she thought it was a glitch. The system had been damaged beyond repair. No known fleet operated in this sector. No Alliance patrols came here. Then the voice came. "Clear. Come. Human. Distress signal received. Hold position." Viral's claws tightened around the edge of the console. Impossible. Her species had encountered many civilizations, but humans were only known through scattered records, short-range explorers, survival colonies, unpredictable but brilliant in engineering. They never traveled this deep. Not this far from their mapped space. She leaned closer to the console, her breathing uneven. "Identify yourself," she replied. A pause followed. Then the response came again, slightly sharper this time. "UNS Resolute Dawn. Human warship. We are en route to your signal source." A warship. Here. In a dead system. Viral's mind raced. The probability was absurd. No known supply route, no jump gates, no fuel stations existed anywhere near this region. A human warship should not even have the range to reach this place. Yet the signal was real. Her damaged sensors suddenly flared with activity. A spatial distortion. Something was tearing open the dark space outside the ship. Viral dragged herself to the view panel. At first there was nothing but void. Then space itself bent. A ripple spread across reality like cracked glass. And from it, something emerged. A massive shape slid out of slipspace, silent, controlled, and impossibly precise. Dark hull plating absorbed what little starlight existed. Running along its side were faint glowing lines, like veins of controlled energy. It was not just a ship. It was a weapon built for survival. Human warship UNS Resolute Dawn. Viral's throat tightened. "This is not possible," she whispered. The warship adjusted position instantly. No wasted movement. No hesitation. It locked onto her crippled vessel within seconds. Then came another message. "We have your location. Begin emergency stabilization. Do not attempt evacuation alone." The command was not a request. It was certainty. And for the first time since the attack, Viral felt something shift inside her chest. Hope. Outside, small human rescue drones detached from the warship. They moved with frightening efficiency, cutting through debris and approaching her hull. But as they neared, something else happened. The ship's external sensors screamed. A new reading appeared. Unknown energy signature. Approaching fast. From the edge of the dead system, space rippled again, but this time it was wrong. Not like a ship arriving. Like something watching. Viral's screen flickered violently. One of the human drones suddenly froze mid-flight. Then its signal dropped. The human voice came back immediately, sharper now. "Unknown interference detected. Stand by." Viral stared at the darkness outside. Something massive was moving just beyond perception. Not a ship. Not a known creature. Something that did not belong in normal space. And then, right before her sensors collapsed, a final reading flashed across her console. The anomaly had turned toward the human warship. The rescue drones barely cleared the alien hull when the space around them warped again. Commander Viral gripped the broken console as her ship trembled. The human drones were still attached to her outer structure, trying to stabilize life support, but something outside was interfering with everything. Not like jamming. More like erasing signals. Unknown energy is disrupting comm links, a calm human voice said through the speaker. We are maintaining manual control. That calmness startled Viral. Even now, with systems failing and a strange force nearby, the humans did not sound afraid. Outside, the UNS Resolute Dawn shifted slightly. Its massive frame did not panic or retreat. Instead, it repositioned between Viral's ship and the dark void beyond it, like a shield. Then the anomaly appeared again. Not fully visible. Not fully real. A distortion in space like reality was being pressed inward by invisible hands. Stars behind it bent unnaturally, forming broken lines of light. One of the human drones suddenly stopped mid-repair. Then it fell silent. Drone 3 is offline, a human operator reported instantly. No panic. Just data. Captain Elias Mercer's voice followed, sharp but controlled. Pull remaining drones back to hull. Increase passive scanning. I want full spectrum analysis on that distortion. Viral forced herself to stand, her legs weak. You should leave this sector, she said over the comm. Everything here dies. My fleet, my entire rescue wing, gone in minutes. There was a pause. Then Mercer responded. We didn't come here for survivors only. We came because your signal was impossible. That word hit her harder than she expected. Impossible. Because she knew it was true. No ship should have reached her. No species should have heard her. And yet the humans were here, holding position in a dead system no one mapped anymore. Outside, the anomaly shifted again. This time it reacted. A pulse of energy spread outward, not like an explosion but like something sensing life. Every external sensor on both ships flickered. Then briefly, reality went silent. No radio noise. No background radiation. Even Viral's breathing felt muffled, like the universe had pressed its hand over her senses. Then it returned. And the human warship fired a single scanning pulse. A controlled wave of structured energy expanded outward. Not a weapon. A probe. The anomaly reacted instantly. The space around it twisted violently, like something had been disturbed in its sleep. Lines of fractured light spiraled outward, forming a shape that made no physical sense. Viral's console overloaded. Captain, one of the human officers said, we are getting a structured echo from the anomaly. It's not random interference. It's responding. That sentence changed everything. Responding. Not attacking blindly. Not drifting. Responding. Elias Mercer leaned forward in his command chair. It's reacting to our scan pattern. A pause followed. Then he added quietly, it recognizes structured communication. Viral's eyes widened. That is not a creature, she whispered. No biological life can process scan patterns like that. Mercer's reply came fast. Then it's not biological. Outside, the anomaly shifted again but slower now. Almost cautious. Like something listening. For the first time since the attack, the violent distortions stopped expanding. Instead they circled. The UNS Resolute Dawn adjusted its shields. Energy levels rose slightly but not in aggression. In preparation. Captain, another officer reported, the distortion is matching our frequency output. It's copying parts of our scan pattern. Mercer did not hesitate. Continue the pulse. But slow it. Introduce structured variations. Viral felt a chill run through her. They were trying to communicate with it. With something that had already destroyed entire fleets. Stop, she said sharply. You don't understand what that thing is. It doesn't react, it consumes. But Mercer's voice stayed steady. And yet it didn't destroy your ship immediately. It's been circling you since we arrived. That detail struck her. It was true. The anomaly had been there before the humans came. But it hadn't attacked her until now. Outside, the human warship sent another controlled pulse. The anomaly responded instantly. This time something changed. A pattern appeared in the distortion. Not chaos. Not randomness. Structure. Broken, fragmented structure. But structure nonetheless. Viral stepped closer to the viewport. Her damaged sensors struggled, but even she could see it now. The darkness was forming repeating sequences. Mathematical loops. Impossible symmetry. Her mind struggled to process it. That's language, she whispered. One of the human scientists responded immediately. We're detecting repetition intervals. It's not random. It's encoding something. Mercer stood up slowly. Run translation attempts. Then he paused. Use human mathematical base patterns first. Viral turned sharply toward the speaker. Why human patterns? Mercer's answer was simple. Because it's already using them. Silence followed. Outside, the anomaly pulsed again. But this time it did something unexpected. It paused. The distortion stopped expanding. For a fraction of a second, everything was still. Then a new signal appeared across both ships. Not energy. Not noise. But structure. A repeating pattern, cleaner now, sharper, almost deliberate. And at its center, a single repeating sequence that matched one human-designed equation set used in deep space navigation. Viral's breath caught. Because it wasn't just responding anymore. It was trying to speak back. The moment the signal stabilized, every console on the UNS Resolute Dawn flashed at once. Not alarms. Recognition. Captain, a sensor officer said quickly, the anomaly has locked onto our communication structure. It's mirroring our signal modulation with increasing accuracy. Elias Mercer did not look away from the main display. The distortion outside the alien ship had stopped behaving like a storm. It now looked like something trying to copy a language it did not fully understand. Confirm pattern origin, he ordered. Pause. Then the answer came. It is not random interference. It is structured response. It is learning from us. Inside the damaged alien vessel, Commander Viral felt her legs weaken. The human drones were still working to stabilize her hull, but her attention was no longer on survival. It was on the impossible thing happening outside. The anomaly was thinking in patterns. Slowly, imperfectly, but deliberately. Stop transmitting full pulses, Mercer said. Switch to minimal structured bursts. We don't want to overwhelm it. A technician hesitated. Sir, if it misinterprets. I know, Mercer interrupted. That's why we proceed carefully. The next signal went out. Smaller. Controlled. Like a simple greeting instead of a roar. The anomaly responded instantly. This time the distortion did not expand or collapse. Instead, it tightened like a focus sharpening. Then something unexpected happened. A fragment of structure appeared inside the chaos. A repeating sequence that matched human numerical logic used in signal compression algorithms. Viral stared at her console. No, that's not possible, she whispered. One of the human scientists leaned forward. We're seeing alignment. It's adapting to our encoding systems. Mercer's jaw tightened. Or it already knows them. Silence fell across the bridge. That thought was heavier than any weapon. If the anomaly already understood human patterns, it meant it had encountered them before. Or something like them. Outside, the distortion shifted again. Slowly now. Almost carefully. Then it revealed something new. A structure inside the void. Not a ship. Not debris. Something massive, hidden in folds of space itself. It was like a broken cage made of light and darkness intertwined. Its edges flickered in and out of existence, as if reality itself could not decide if it should be there. Viral gasped. That's inside the anomaly? Mercer narrowed his eyes. Not inside. Contained within it. A sensor officer shouted, we are detecting residual energy fields. Ancient design. Not natural formation. The data began flooding in. The structure was old. Far older than any known civilization. And it was failing. The anomaly was not attacking randomly. It was reacting like a wounded system trying to hold something in place, but no longer able to control itself. Then came the twist that froze everyone. A signal burst from the structure. Not from the anomaly. From within the cage. A clean, repeating pulse. Structured. Intentional. Human-compatible. Viral stepped closer to her console, her breathing uneven. That signal, it's identical to your communication base code. Mercer did not respond immediately. He was watching something else. The anomaly had begun reacting violently again, but not toward the human ship. Toward the structure inside it. It's not attacking us, Mercer said slowly. It's reacting to that containment field. The realization spread across the bridge like cold fire. The anomaly was not the enemy. It was the guard. A failed one. And something inside it was still alive. The structure pulsed again, stronger this time. And the UNS Resolute Dawn received a direct translation hit. Fragments of meaning. Broken but real. A message buried in mathematical decay. One of the linguists spoke quickly, voice shaking slightly. It's asking for stabilization. It's requesting repair protocol access. Viral's eyes widened. It's asking you for help? Mercer's expression darkened. No, he said quietly. It's not asking. Another pulse hit. The bridge screens flickered. Then the translation system completed a partial decode. A single phrase appeared. Containment failure, core entity unstable. A silence followed that felt heavier than space itself. Then alarms spiked across the human ship. "Captain," a technician shouted. "The anomaly is increasing energy output rapidly." Outside, the distortion expanded again, but now it wasn't random. It was focused, directed, toward both ships, toward them. Viral took a step back instinctively. "It changed," she said. "It was observing, now it's reacting like it made a decision." Mercer stood slowly. His voice was calm but sharper now. "No," he said. It reached a conclusion. The anomaly pulsed once more. And this time the signal it sent was no longer fragmented. It was clean, clear, and translated instantly by the human systems. A single directive. Interference detected. Core protection protocol, engage. The space around both ships tightened. Reality itself began to fold inward. And for the first time since the rescue began, even the UNS Resolute Dawn's shields flickered under pressure. Mercer's voice cut through the chaos. "All hands, brace for spatial compression event." Viral turned toward the viewport. The darkness outside was no longer empty. It was waking up. The moment the containment protocol activated, space itself seemed to inhale. Both ships, human and alien, were caught in a tightening field that had no visible edge, only pressure. Viral felt it in her bones first, then in her vision. The lights inside her broken ship bent slightly, like reality was no longer aligned. On the UNS Resolute Dawn, alarms screamed across every deck. "Spatial compression increasing," a technician shouted. "Hull stress rising beyond safe margins." Captain Elias Mercer did not move from the command platform. "Maintain position," he ordered. A pause followed, sharp and dangerous. Then he added, "Do not fire. Do not break formation." Confusion rippled through the bridge. "Sir, the field is collapsing inward," an officer said. "If we stay—" "I know," Mercer interrupted. His eyes were fixed on the distortion outside. "But if we move, we break its focus. And whatever is inside that structure will fully activate." Inside the alien ship, Commander Viral struggled to stay standing. Her console flickered violently, showing overlapping layers of energy data. The anomaly was no longer circling. It was converging, like a storm finally choosing its center. And that center was both ships. "What is it doing?" Viral whispered. A human voice answered her through comms, steady but strained. "It's locking us inside the containment field. We are now part of its stabilization system." That answer sent a cold shock through her chest. "We are trapped," she said. "No," Mercer replied instantly. "We are being used." Outside, the distortion tightened further. Space around them began to ripple like fabric pulled too hard. Distant stars bent into arcs, then vanished behind warped geometry. Then something new appeared inside the field. A structure. Not the cage they saw before, but its core mechanism. Massive, broken rings of energy and unknown material rotated slowly in impossible directions. Each ring carried faint pulses of light, like dying neural signals. Viral's eyes widened. "That's a machine," she said softly. "A structure built to hold something." One of the human scientists responded quickly. "Not just hold. Regulate. This is a containment network spanning spatial layers." Mercer's voice turned lower. "And it's failing." A sudden jolt shook both ships. The anomaly surged. Energy readings spiked violently. "Core instability increasing," a technician shouted. "We are losing structural integrity on external fields." Then the twist hit. The broken rings inside the anomaly suddenly aligned. For one fraction of a second, everything stopped. And a signal broke through. Not fragmented this time. Not adaptive. Clear. Fully formed. And translated instantly. "Primary entity awake." Silence followed that message. Even the alarms seemed to hesitate. Viral felt her breath stop. "Primary entity?" she repeated. "So there is something inside this, something controlling it?" Mercer did not answer immediately. He was reading every sensor feed at once. Then he said quietly, "Or something it was built to protect." Outside, the containment rings shifted again. This time not randomly. Deliberately. The energy field around both ships tightened further, but instead of crushing them, it stabilized their position at the center. As if anchoring them. "Captain," a bridge officer said carefully, "it's not destroying us. It's holding us in place." Mercer nodded slightly. Yes, he said. Because we are now part of the system. Viral stepped closer to her broken viewport. What system? She asked. The answer came not from humans but from the anomaly itself. Another signal burst. Stronger. More structured. And translated into shared understanding. Core entity unstable. External custodians required. Viral froze. Custodians? She whispered. It thinks we are maintenance units? A human scientist frowned. Or it recognizes us as compatible operators. Mercer's expression tightened. That's not recognition, he said. That's assignment. The field around them pulsed again. And suddenly, a new layer of reality opened. Not visually but sensorially. Both ships detected something behind the containment system. Something vast. Something that did not move like matter. It existed like thought. Viral staggered. What is that? She whispered. The human sensors struggled to stabilize readings. Then came the report. Unknown intelligence signature detected behind containment lattice. Size, immeasurable. Structure, non-physical. A long pause followed. Then the technician added quietly, it is reacting to our presence. Mercer exhaled slowly. So it is awake, he said. The anomaly tightened again, but this time carefully. Like it was adjusting pressure around something fragile. Then a final message came through. Short, direct, and deeply unsettling. Interface request, human cognitive link required. The bridge went silent. Viral looked toward the human ship on her screen. It wants to connect to your minds? A crew member whispered, that's impossible. No system uses cognition at this scale. Mercer stared at the message for a long moment. Then he spoke. Or it does, and we were never meant to find it like this. Outside, the containment field stabilized into a perfect sphere around both ships. The anomaly stopped shifting. Completely. For the first time since the rescue began, there was no movement in the void. Only waiting. Then Mercer made his decision. All stations, he said quietly. Prepare for interface initiation. Viral's eyes widened in shock. You can't mean. But Mercer cut her off. We came here because something impossible called us, he said. Now it's answering properly. The lights on both ships dimmed slightly. And the sphere of containment pulsed once. Like a heartbeat. Waiting for them to respond. And somewhere deep inside that ancient structure, something far larger than either of them finally noticed that humans were awake. The moment Captain Elias Mercer gave the order, silence fell across the UNS Resolute Dawn like a heavy seal. Every system that wasn't critical dimmed. Power was rerouted into stabilization nodes. The ship wasn't preparing to fight anymore, it was preparing to connect. Inside the alien vessel, Commander Viral felt the same shift. Her failing console flickered between survival readings and the impossible signal that now filled space around them. The containment sphere pulsed again. Slow. Controlled. Like a heartbeat waiting for permission. Interface link cannot be reversed once initiated, a technician warned. I understand, Mercer replied calmly. A pause followed. Then he added, quieter, but we're already inside its system. We just didn't know it yet. Outside, the anomaly no longer behaved like a storm. It had become a structure of intention. The broken rings that once looked chaotic now aligned into a perfect geometry around both ships. Then the signal came. Clearer than ever before. Human cognitive signatures accepted. Viral stepped forward instinctively. What happens if you connect? She asked. No one answered immediately. Because the truth was still forming. Mercer finally spoke. Then we talk to whatever is inside this. The bridge lights dimmed further. A soft hum spread through both ships, not mechanical, not electrical, but something deeper. Like space itself was preparing to translate thought into meaning. Then it happened. The interface activated. For Viral it felt like falling without moving. Her senses blurred for a fraction of a second, and suddenly she wasn't on her ship anymore. She was in a vast conceptual space. Not empty. Structured. Lines of light stretched infinitely in all directions, forming shifting patterns like a living network. And she was not alone. Human minds were there too. Not physically, but present in the same shared cognitive field. She could feel Mercer. Focused. Controlled. Anchored like a steady point in chaos. This is not simulation, Mercer's voice echoed in her awareness. This is direct translation of neural perception into system interface. Viral struggled to orient herself. Then where is the anomaly? A new presence answered. Not human. Not alien. Something older than both. You are inside the custodial lattice. The words were not spoken. They were understood. The space around them shifted, revealing layers upon layers of structured containment fields, each one holding back something vast and unstable at the center. Viral's awareness tightened. That thing we saw, the core entity. A fragment of response formed instantly. Core entity, non-compliant intelligence fragment. Origin, pre-civilization era. Mercer's presence sharpened. Pre-civilization, meaning before any known species? Pause. Then. Confirmed. The revelation hit like a silent shockwave. Viral felt it emotionally before intellectually. Something so old that it predated recorded history was not just existing here, it was contained, monitored, and failing. She turned toward Mercer in the shared interface. This system, it's not a weapon, is it? Mercer's presence remained steady. No, he said. It's a prison. The lattice around them shifted again. And deeper layers revealed themselves. Massive structures of broken logic, ancient control systems, and decaying safeguards stretched infinitely outward. The anomaly outside the ships was only a surface symptom. At the center of everything, something was pressing outward, trying to wake fully. Then the core entity spoke again. This time not in fragments, but in a structured, direct pulse. Containment integrity below 0.4%. External operators required for stabilization. Viral felt a cold realization. They don't want to escape, she said slowly. They want it stabilized. Mercer responded immediately. Yes, because if it breaks free, this region dies. The interface reacted. Images formed, fast, fragmented impressions. Star systems collapsing into silence. Entire fleets disappearing without trace. Civilizations never reaching their second expansion cycle. Not destruction. Erasure. System-level failures spreading outward like infection. Viral's emotional core tightened. This thing has been failing for a long time. The lattice confirmed it. Cycle duration, unknown. Maintenance loss, complete. Mercer's voice lowered. And humans are the first compatible minds to reach it in this state. A new signal emerged. Different from the others. Directed specifically at Mercer and Viral. Interface query, will you assume temporary custodian role? Silence stretched across the shared mind space. This was not rescue anymore. Not survival. It was responsibility on a scale neither of them had expected. Viral felt fear rise inside her. But beneath it, something else. Understanding. If we refuse? She asked. The lattice responded instantly. Containment failure. Probability 99.7%. Core entity full release event imminent. Mercer closed his eyes for a moment. Then opened them. We don't have a choice, he said quietly. Viral looked at him. You're really going to take responsibility for something built before your species even existed? Mercer's answer was simple. We already did. The moment we answered the call. The lattice reacted. Final confirmation sequence initiated. Around them, the containment structure began to shift, not collapsing but transferring control protocols. Space itself felt like it was handing them a key. Then a new signal appeared. One last message from the system. Custodian role accepted. Humanity registered as compatible interface species. The interface stabilized. The anomaly outside the ships went still. For the first time since the beginning, the violent distortion stopped entirely. Not gone. Waiting. Viral slowly returned to awareness inside her broken ship. The lights flickered. Systems groaned back into partial function. The UNS Resolute Dawn also powered back into normal operational mode. But everything had changed. Mercer's voice came through the comm one last time. We need to talk about what's inside this place. Viral looked at the dark void beyond her viewport. It was quiet now. Too quiet. Then her console flashed a final incoming signal. Unknown origin. Not from the anomaly. Not from the lattice. From deeper inside the structure. A new layer had just activated. And the message was simple. Secondary custodian network online. Viral's breath caught. Because whatever they had just awakened was only the beginning.